everybody. For everyone who's a little bit depressed about the state of the world, today's program should bring you a ray of hope. We will hear from a group of Macintosh Academy students whose project has made a physical difference in their environment, has resulted in cleaner water, has engaged them in hands-on education about science and sustainable development, and has put them in direct contact with peers from other countries. You might note that the project addresses 3 of Rotary's 7 goals, namely clean water, environment, and education. And the icing on the cake is these students won top standing in a global competition. The impetus for the project was the World Affairs Challenge, a global education project under the auspices of World Denver. You'll learn more about all of this in the next 30 minutes. I'm happy to introduce our team of presenters. First, we have Liz Shaw from World Denver, who runs the World Affairs Challenge competition. Then we're going to bring up Brenda Parker, the Macintosh school teacher. And finally, the awesome student team who conceived and implemented the winning project. Come on, Liz, come on over.
Hello, thank you, Karen. Can everyone hear me in the back? Microphones are always a little dicey for me. Thank you so much for having me today. My name is Liz Shaw. I'm the Senior Education Programs Coordinator at World Denver, and as Karen mentioned, I run the World Affairs Challenge. Can I do my slide? Oh, there it is. So very, very briefly, because I'd much rather you hear from the students than me, the World Affairs Challenge is a program at World Denver for middle and high school students through which the students can contribute their own innovative community projects to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So we use those SDGs as the common language through which the whole program functions. And we have teams participating from around the world, as you can see up here. Though the World Affairs Challenge is quite an old program, it's been around for about 30 years. In its new home at World Denver, the past 2 years, we are thrilled to have 11 countries represented in the program, and we have about 1,800 student participants worldwide in those 2 years. That's all I'm going to say about that. I would much rather you hear from the students. And so I'll be around afterwards. Nope. I got one more thing. We are always deeply grateful for our volunteers, and I encourage all of you to take a peek at the flyers that are on your table. There are plenty of opportunities for Rotarians to get involved with the World Affairs Challenge, including by volunteering as evaluators of the student projects. We can't do the program without volunteers. So I encourage you to take a look at those flyers. I'll be around to answer any questions you have. And I do want to acknowledge and thank several other Rotary clubs in the Denver area who have been supporting us. And I'm very honored to be here today. So without further ado, I am really excited to introduce you to the Macintosh Academy Boulder Koi Wire team, including their teacher, Brenda Parker, who is an 8th grade educator and the student experience coordinator at Mac Boulder. So, Brenda.
Thank you, Liz. What a great introduction. I just want to highlight some of those numbers that Liz had talked about. Think about all those students worldwide, and these 5 kiddos from Boulder won first place in the middle school competition. So it was a really big deal. So I just want to say, cheers to them. Nice job. We're so proud of them, and you should know that I did very little work except helped to coordinate. These guys are so amazing. Macintosh Academy is an IB World School. It's K through 8, and it's right here in Boulder. I've been running this program. Exciting. I've been running this program for 7 years at Macintosh, and I've seen so many different projects, from the one you're going to hear from today, We had a group years ago that were looking at fair wages, and I actually went to our Board of Trustees and changed the maternity leave policy at our school based on the work they did from World Affairs Challenge. So these kids are presented with real world problems like the Sustainable Development Goals the UN created, and then they're asked to come up with creative solutions, because the adults that are working on these solutions sometimes need an influx of like really new great ideas. So I'm gonna quit talking and get these kiddos up on stage. So I introduce to you our team, Coy Wire from Macintosh Academy. Come on up, guys.
Hello, everyone. We're super excited to be here and present to you our WAC project. It's been in the making for a bit. We're still working on it and are excited to continue our process and teach you all about what we've done. So, without further ado, I think next slide. Do we have the? There we go.
So the problem that our group focused on was cleaning up the pond on our school campus. Over time, algae and other floating plant matter have built up, causing an anaerobic environment. We decided to fix this, so we devised a few easy steps to bring our dreams for the pond to fruition.
So for our project, we chose the UN Sustainable Development Goal of life below water. Water was the focus for our project, and part of WAC is you had to create a solution that was SMART. And SMART is an acronym which stands for?
SMART stands for Sustainable, Measurable, Attainable, and Realistic. As you can see here, we took the time to make sure our goal was SMART.
So far, we have tested the pond water and gotten multiple other volunteers to help us with cleaning and dredging the pond. We made lots of progress with getting the buildup out of the pond, and we found a nesting goose on the island and a pair of mallard ducks in the area.
Community connections. Our team had a meeting with Jordan Swenson, wetland and riparian ecologist for Boulder County Open Space and Mountain Parks. She gave us the idea to dredge the pond, which would reduce anaerobic buildup at the bottom and create an environment with more oxygen so that the fish could survive.
So our first step in our project was to test the pond, which we have done already. Our next step would be to continue dredging the pond. Then our next step would be to buy and install a bubbler in our pond and to test the water again to see how the water's changed and if we need to do anything else. And our final step would be to add life and introduce new organisms and repopulate the pond.
We reached out to Weld Laboratories in Greeley, Colorado to help us test the water in our pond for the first time. The irrigation quality threshold is the average numbers for a healthy pond. Luckily, most of our numbers are in line except for the hardiness and the magnesium levels, which are both higher than they should be.
So for reference, our pond right now, what you're seeing in the buckets and everybody covered in muck on the side over there, that's what is covered in, that's basically covered our entire floor of our ponds and even some of the water. So we really wanted to fix it, and one of the solutions we had was to try and dredge the pond. So for Earth Day, we do a big old community thing at our school, and we had people, we got a lot of volunteers, which was amazing, and they came out. We had people who were raking a ton of muck from the bottom of the ponds. We had people using nets we built to try and reach further algae that was too far for the rakers. And if any of that was too far, we had people in waders actually in the water going around pulling up things on the bottom that people couldn't reach or that floating algae that people couldn't reach. And lastly, which was one of the most important things, is we had to get the muck out of there. So we had people in buckets taking these big disgusting buckets of muck, and we took them all and put them on a compost pile, so we'll actually be able to grow things out of them, which will be a much better use for the muck than being at the bottom of the pond.
Here's some photos that we have of volunteers the day that we were dredging the pond. On the left, you can see a couple of the people in waders. That is me and Jack on the right, scooping out muck. Wasn't that fun? On the right, you can see me and Cora, and a couple other people just scraping up muck with rakes and waders and buckets and gloves. It was a messy project.
While we were dredging the pond, we found 2 crawdads, and one of them had eggs. And hopefully we'll have baby crawdads, more crawdads if they hatch and survive, which will help get rid of decaying plant matter and weeds, because the crawdads eat them and reproduce, make more crawdads. So, cross our fingers.
For the future of our project, we need to continue dredging because it's a big pond. Well, it's small, but the amount of muck in it is a lot. So we're going to continue dredging it, but once we've dredged it, we'll be able to add a bubbler, and this is going to help add oxygen to the water and make the water a little bit more clean, so then we can test the pond to make sure we can then add life, which will be really cool to have actual fish living in the pond, because all we have is crawdads.
One thing that we could have done differently in our project is that our original date that we had set to clean the pond was changed very last minute, and we were not able to get all the proper supplies in time, and we ended up having to make do with our own materials to make a dredging net, which still ended up working fairly well, but not great. And then for 2023 update, we still need to wait until the spring to install the aeration system, which it would be the bubbler and native fish, because the pond is currently, well, not currently, but frozen over. And shout-outs, we would like to thank the Boulder Rotary Club for attending and listening to our slideshow, Boulder JCC for hosting us and inviting us over to present, and finally WAC Denver for administrating and providing this wonderful opportunity.
We would also like to thank Jordan Swenson for helping us with our idea for dredging the pond and telling us what we could do and what would work best. We would like to thank Brenda Parker for being an amazing teacher and helping support us through the process. And lastly, we would like to thank Macintosh Academy for all our amazing staff and volunteers. Thank you. Yes.
Hey, you guys. Yeah, we're going to open it up. Anyone had any questions for these students? There's a microphone floating around the back. Just kind of wave your hand. They'd be happy to answer questions about the project or what it was like to go through this, but they're here.
Is this on? Yes, it is. Just curious, what's the water source? Is this groundwater? Where's the water coming from?
It's an irrigation ditch. We live right next, our school is right next to a farmland, so the McGinn ditch goes through our campus.
Sure. So algae sometimes can be deadly to like dogs and stuff like that. Is that the kind of algae that's in your pond?
We didn't test the exact species of algae, but I think usually that's blue-green algae and bacteria that come with it. And I don't think that they were. I don't think that was what was in our pond, but definitely harmful algae.
Okay, follow-up to that is you're on an irrigation ditch next to a farm. Is there any runoff coming from the farm that is causing this problem?
We didn't exactly check that out, although for a better result in the project, we could see if that is the source of any buildup.
Hey, thanks for being here. Great presentation. I was wondering if you guys might want to talk about what the competition was like. What did you do? Was it hard? Did you have to answer a lot of difficult questions?
So originally the competition was pretty lightweight. It was just we got to choose one of the SDG world goals, and then we had to go off of that. So as you saw in our slideshow, we chose life below water. And so there were like 5 to choose from, and World Denver selects 5 different ones each year, so they get new ideas. And so originally we had to make a video and submit it to the judges. Then after that, we had a meeting with the judges to talk through our video and what kind of score we were getting based on the things they enjoyed in our video and based on the things they didn't enjoy in our video. And that's when we found out we'd be moving on to the second round. So after the second round, we had to revise our video and improve it, record some new things, edit out the old things. We met with the judges for a second time, again talking about what we did well, what could have been better. And then after that, it was just a matter of time waiting for the judges to choose who won. And in May of 2023, we attended a banquet where we presented this same slideshow to the other teams, and the top 3 winning teams also talked about their projects. So overall, I would say it was a really fun experience, and it definitely helped me learn a lot more.
Maybe each of you can tell us one thing that you found surprising, either about the process or the project itself.
One thing that I found really surprising was that we even had stuff living in the pond in the first place, because it's a very bit of a wasteland almost. And when we were pulling up all this muck and we saw crawdads, we were like, oh my gosh, since when have we had these? Because we've never added them to the pond or anything. So I think that was one of the most surprising things during our project.
I would also say I'm very surprised that we won. That might just be like imposter syndrome or something, but you know.
I'd also like to add on that in the past, we've had a lot of different groups that have tried to clean the pond. There's been a lot of attempts to clean our pond. It's just, very stubborn. We didn't really end up getting back to it. So, I'm glad that we were able to actually make so much more progress with this project.
Yeah, well, great. Congratulations on a water project. As you know, a big Rotary push here. Our own Charlotte Rome, our incoming president, not next year, the following year, though. She's actually deeply involved in our district in water and sanitation projects. So cool, good on you. Quick question on the bubbler. You got power out there? You gonna run off solar? I'm just curious.
Well, go ahead. You ordered it. You ordered it.
I ordered it. They picked it up. No, it's an RPS system. It's a solar water bubbler, so we're not running power out there. It's solar. Yeah.
Also, it's outdoors, and a lot of the trees around it are dead. Not a great environment. So there's also not a lot of shade to be thrown on the solar panels. So.
Thank you so much. We have a pond. Well, it's supposed to be a lake. It's by Horizon School, and it could sure use maybe your approach. So once you've got this all nailed down and become rich and famous, perhaps you could market it and help other ponds and lakes in our area. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, I mean, part of our project was we hope that if we can successfully get this pond back into shape, that we will be able to publish some kind of document or any kind of research where we could apply this to other ponds, because I know that there are a lot of ponds that are definitely struggling like ours, and if we figured this out, it would make not only a difference on just our little ponds, but it could be around all of Colorado, which I think would be really, really cool.
If we can do it with our pond, if we have gotten this far with our pond, it can be done anywhere.
I'm wondering if you considered alternative approaches. Since you said there were crawdads in the pond, did you think about maybe adding more crawdads or snails, or it looks like there are a lot of trees around the pond, and that's probably why it's gotten into the state that it's in. So what's your plan for the future in terms of more trees falling into the pond?
Yeah, so right by the pond, Jack kind of mentioned this earlier, but there is a garden plot that we're working on that we put the compost from the pond onto. So we are planting some plants around it. Also, we looked into different organisms beside fish, like crawdads or duckweed, different plants and animals, both in the water and out. And so yeah, we would probably add some floating plants, like duckweed and water hyacinth, I believe it's called, and maybe.
School is very permaculture centered, which is basically the idea that all of the things that we can create can run off of each other. So like garden plots, orchards, solar systems, etc. So we often have students like planting trees or building garden beds. So on our campus, we have 23 acres. And on our campus, we have like trees that are starting to grow and garden beds that are starting to grow. And once we finish making an entire permaculture orchard full of different things like that, then the pond will be healthier overall because the rest of the environment is healthier.
Great. We have a question online. Can we go to Dominica?
Yes, I was asking first how the pond got into this bad condition in the first place, but then you mentioned about farmland and fertilizer and so on, which of course is very bad for aquatic life. But I was wondering how you're going to maintain what you've done. You've done a very good job so far, but how are you going to sustain this improvement that you have created?
Yeah, we actually did a lot of research into that, which is why we picked out the organisms that we did, because some of the fish and crawdad can eat away at the algae naturally, just as a food source, and the bubbler will help oxygenate the pond and break up large clumps of algae so that they don't reform. So those are the two main parts.
Thank you.
At our school, we also, when we're in 8th grade, we have to do a community project. So we are also trying to encourage the now 7th graders to maybe hopefully focus on the pond for their community project.
Jump in just because Cora mentioned the permaculture focus we have at our school. So we do have someone in school that's a permaculture designer, and Jim helps. We have a lot of kids have class each week. So there is someone that's overall looking at how all these systems fit together. So it will be not forgotten.
This is just fascinating to hear about your project. I'm so sorry you didn't invite us to help with the mucking out of that. I would have loved that. But my question is, since the source of the water is irrigation, is there a danger that this pond may dry up at some point?
Yeah, so when the water gets closed off from the ditch for the winter, the water level does decrease a lot, but it's the lowest it's ever gotten is like 20 feet in the center, 20, I think. Yeah, so I don't know if there's a ton of danger of it drying up completely, and we are choosing smaller fish so that during the wintertime when it freezes over, the ice doesn't get so thick that they just get frozen in the ice and can't go anywhere. So hopefully not.
We have time for one more question, if somebody has a question.
Yeah, just wondering, thanks for coming, by the way. You did a great job today. Great job. I'm just wondering what it was like to work and compete in this international environment. Thinking about the judges from other countries, you were on Zoom a lot. What did you learn about the world?
Well, originally, this project was very hyped by our teachers, so we were definitely very excited to try it ourselves. Honestly, I think I can speak for all of us when we say we did not really expect to win.
Yes.
So, and also thank you for inviting us. It was just like, it was a very fun experience to learn about, it just feels nice knowing that we've been able to impact our community in a better way and sort of accomplish what other groups might not have been able to do as effectively.
I also think that at the banquet that we were able to attend back in May, because we won, it was cool to see some of the other winning groups or the second and third runner-ups present about their projects, because forgive me if I'm wrong, but I believe the second and third groups that won were both from Africa, and their projects were based down in Africa, and it was really cool to see what they were doing and how this project could be continuated throughout the world.
In terms of the judging process too, WAC made it really easy on us. It was a Zoom meeting, and we get a bunch of judges on that call, and they could tell us about our project, so we didn't have to physically go anywhere. All we had to do was submit it online, and then we got to do a video call and hear our feedback and improve. So I think that was really nice for this project, just how easy they made it.
I would also like to say that since we weren't face-to-face interacting with a lot of the other people, other teams, and judges, it was not super stressful because it was just kind of like, oh, yeah, it's just a project. If we lose, we lose. So, yeah, overall, low stakes, good opportunity to learn and improve the environment at MAC.
Dear winning team at Macintosh Academy Boulder, dear Brenda, thank you very much for your insightful presentation. Your depth of knowledge and the way you conveyed the information was truly impressive. Winning the middle school division award in a competition of such a scale, that's an incredible achievement. By all of your students, especially competition that involved schools from across the US and abroad. This is a testament to your dedication, creativity, and hard work stimulated by your teacher. Your choice to address one of the UN's Sustainable Development Goals by focusing on a local environmental issue very, very near you shows a remarkable level of awareness and commitment to making a tangible difference in your surrounding and community. Your project to revive a dead pond not only enhanced your school's environment, but also provided a practical lesson in ecology and sustainability. Moreover, using your prize money to purchase equipment to maintain the pond's health demonstrates your forward-thinking approach, aiming for sustainability and dedication to long-term environmental well-being. This accomplishment is a shining example for other students and schools and highlights the impact that young minds can have when they are empowered and guided to address global challenges at a local level. Congratulations to all of you, your teachers, for fostering such an enriching education experience, and to World Denver, a global affairs organization, sponsor of the World Affairs Challenge that our Rotarian member, Karen de Bartolome, found in 2012. Now a few words about one of our Rotary focus goals, which is also aimed towards sustainability of our actions. Rotary is a founding member of the Global Polio Eradication Initiative since 1988. After 35 years of arduous work, Rotary and its partners are on the brink of eradicating this tenacious disease. But a strong push is needed now to root it out once and for all. We've reduced polio cases by 99.9%. We are this close to eradicating polio. In your honor, the Boulder Rotary Club is pleased to contribute 100 doses of the vaccine to the Polio Plus Fund. Thank you from our hearts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's that time of year again where Boulder Rotary has the opportunity to help make holiday wishes come true for some of Boulder's children. Share a Gift provides holiday gifts for over 1,500 children from over 600 low-income families in Boulder County. We're looking for volunteers. It's a ton of fun. If you can't volunteer, please consider bringing an unwrapped new gift to our last meeting this month, next week, December 16th. You can also make a cash donation today or next week if you prefer. Look for a Share Gift Elves at the back of the room or find out more in the rib.
What's more fun than going to the National Western Stock Show? Going to the stock show with other Rotarians from throughout the district. Wednesday, January 17th is Rotary Night at the Stock Show in Denver. The event includes an optional special dinner for Rotarians in the Northwest Club for $31. Admissions to the grounds and the rodeo is $15. The sign-up deadline is January 13th. Even if this is not your first rodeo, you'll have a great time.
Okay, this week's Rotarian on the Street is with President Chad Stam. Are you ready for today's question?
I don't know.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Who would win in this fight? 4 tigers or a woolly mammoth?
Is there a choice C?
No, there's not. There are 4 tigers and a woolly mammoth, and you've got to decide who's going to win. A lot of money. This is a big question.
Tigers.
The tigers, why?
Tigers. Well, I can't tell you why, but I'm basing my logic on the fact there are so many college mascots called the Tigers, none called the woolly mammoth. So the smart people that run the colleges probably realize that the tiger would win.
Okay, what about between a woolly mammoth and a banana slug?
Well, there is a banana slug out there.
I know. Well, that's why I'm just saying the banana slug is a mascot, and of course there are tigers. So now let's say a woolly mammoth was a mascot.
Well, I'm going to go with the banana slug because the woolly mammoth is extinct.
Okay, very smart.
Yeah.
Smart guy right here is our president, Chad Stam.
Hey guys, are we gonna have a great weekend?